Jesus Christ taught his disciples, love thy neighbor as thyself. And of course, this phrase has been modernized and adapted to say, treat others the way you would like to be treated. This is the golden rule, and everyone is taught this rule when they're a kid. Not a lot of people know that it was Jesus that actually said it, but the idea of the moral value that it brings, everyone's taught it as a child for a reason. And I'm making this episode today because a couple of things have kind of come across, and a couple of things I've seen, a couple of instances I've noticed recently, and I'm here to address that and here to talk about what it means to actually live out the golden rule. And I'm going to talk about how a lot of people have lost their way, man. Truly, that is the case, and that is the world we live in today. A lot of people have truly lost their way and have truly gone insane. And it's down to brain rot, internet culture, almost certainly. It's because of this internet online access where, of course, we know that what the internet did is a lot of psychotic people, narcissistic people who really shouldn't be having a platform to say stuff, then they're given a platform where they can just text out into the void and just say all their crazy, ridiculous things and disrespectful things, disingenuous statements that they say, and arguments and criticisms, if you want to call them that, just stupidity. And they bind together with other people who are just chronic narcissists, and they make their own cults and groups and stuff together. We know that the internet has already been a platform for this, but I feel like in recent times this idea has gotten even worse. And the extremism that I've seen from people, and the radicalism, the radical ideas, just the intense hate, the intensity has truly gone up when it comes to hate online. And I also feel like a lot of people are now starting to transfer online behavior into real life. And that's when it gets scary. If you can still be a decent person in real life, but online you have this persona or whatever, it's bad. But it's even worse if it ends up becoming your own self in your real life, in real in-person interactions, ends up becoming you showing your narcissistic self and being disrespectful or being overtly sexual and just irresponsible in general with what you're doing. So really, it's because people have forgotten about, the most basic rule. Of course, they've forgotten about a lot of other things, but the most basic rule, which is treat others the way you would like to be treated. So that's why I'm talking about it today. There just seems to be this general increase in arrogance and lack of respect for the people around these people that are, narcissists, truly like psychotic individuals, and both offline and online. Online gave them the platform to start expressing their own internal thoughts and ideas, which are, of course, very corrupt because they have real problems and real mental issues in their brains. And it's sucked in a lot of people who are relatively normal to actually falling into those types of behaviors as well. Because of course, then you receive a ridiculous, hateful message, and then you want to be hateful back, and then it becomes this huge argument, and then you fall into that. I speak from experience because I've received my fair share of hateful comments and messages over my time. Because I'm doing this podcast, but it's not the only thing that I've done online. Far from it. So I'm quite astute. I'm quite adept at the fact that there's going to be hate and criticism. What I've felt is in recent times, as like brain rot culture and just people stopping, people losing their heads, really. People not really thinking about their actions, not really thinking about what they say, what they do. The more it's done, more it's increased, more this stuff's increased, the worse it's gotten, and the more hostile the environment is online. Hostile is a great word. It's just hostile. It's just people are just crazy. And we truly have to bring people back to the values that built this society, which are the values of God, the values of Jesus Christ, the stuff that he teaches. No more than to say, love thy neighbor as thyself, treat others the way you would like to be treated. And it's actually funny because it was a Pokemon YouTuber out of everyone that kind of was expressing what he's been seeing in himself. He has 2 million subscribers, and he was comparing the difference between 5-10 years ago till now. And in in-person events, he was getting touched in an awkward way and was having a bunch of harassment sexually and physically, and it was some very disturbing stuff that he was revealing to his audience in the video he posted. And he described this behavior as parasocial behavior. But I go a little bit further. I say parasocial narcissistic behavior, which is to say that, you don't care about, you don't understand, or you've lost understanding of societal norms and cultural, just, the way you're expected to behave in a respectful manner. And you've basically, for people, many people, more people have forgotten that idea and forgotten what it looks like, and what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to act online and in public. And online facilitated it. So it's people being completely unreasonable, irresponsible, and inappropriate with people online. And it doesn't have to be a big YouTuber. It's also with, if people aren't anywhere near as popular, with direct friends, direct family members. And people have truly lost their way. Being raised by the internet, if you're on the right side of the internet, if you're on the side of truth, it's actually a great thing, because it gives you a lot of insights on how you can, improve your life. Ideally, that's this podcast as well. But if you're on the side of evil, if you're really on the dark side of the internet, and a lot of people have fallen into that dark side of the internet, that's why X is such a horrible platform. We always knew Twitter was filled with idiots, but after it's become X, and well, maybe not even after it's become X, it's really only been the last year or so that I've noticed that it's just become even more just ridiculous, the way people are just completely okay typing this like the most disrespectful thing and the most disingenuous thing that you can talk about, or the most demeaning thing or insulting thing to someone, and they're perfectly okay with just texting that, putting a comment, without thinking. So online facilitated this. The people that were already parasocial, the people that were already narcissistic, were able to have a platform to spread it and connect with other people that are also falling in those categories, and that's bad. But what's worse is that a lot of newer people, maybe especially younger people, just getting into the internet because that's all they know, have kind of been taught these terrible behaviors that will not lead you anywhere in life, first and foremost, but also is just disrespectful, and people will just hate you for it, man. So I'm addressing this, and we're going to talk about treating others the way you would like to be treated. So that was a big little preface, but that's kind of the situation, the overarching situation, and I hope you agree with it. I hope it's not just me. I hope it's not just some of these bigger YouTubers that I'm seeing post videos about, these basically these crazy people on the internet that have been, the amount of them has increased clearly in recent times. So hopefully it's not just me. Hopefully you feel that as well, that the internet has become a lot more hostile, a lot more hateful, and a lot more disrespectful. But this is, the lesson. Here's the simple application of treating others the way you would like to be treated. Whenever you feel angry at someone for whatever reason, and for whatever reason you feel the need to say something terrible to them, insult them, or they insulted you, so you want to insult them back even, and you want to say something just very mean, very rude, or even act in an act of violence, if it gets that far, before you do anything, be conscientious, take a step back, and truly think about how you would feel if they said or did the same thing to you. So if you want to say something super mean to someone, think about how would you feel if they said that exact same thing to you. Usually you'll realize that, you'd feel like crap, you'd hate them for it. So why would you do that to them? And same thing with violence. Obviously, if you want to punch someone in the face, think about how you'd feel if you get punched in the face. A lot of people don't know how it feels to take a punch to the face, and as a result, they become soft and they think it's perfectly okay to do all these crazy things. Some of these idiot kids really do need a punch to the face, I feel, but it just to teach them the lesson, of life, really, but and to humble them a bit, let's say. But if you get punched in the face, you think about how you'd feel. Obviously, it would hurt. So why would you hurt your brother? Why would you hurt your best friend? If you know that, like, first and foremost, we know that we have compass of morality. And obviously that's not a nice thing to do, and saying and insulting people is just not nice things to do. And on top of the fact, you apply the rule to say that, well, yeah, if they did it to you, you would feel horrible. So then, you ask yourself the question, why would you do it to them? You have to be patient, you have to be calm, prudent in the moment, and control yourself. Self-control. Have a bit of self-control and self-dignity to not say the thing that will, hurt a lot of people. Even if it's online. If it's online or in person. In person's way worse because you get, you see it, you see how it hurts them in real time. Online, that's why it's easier because you can just send it out and you don't really care. But really think about what it will mean if they said it to you, how you'd feel, and also what your reputation would kind of be like if you are the type of person to send out truly hateful, mean messages out there to other people. And of course, it absolutely applies offline and online, this idea of this rule. So I think I'm going to end this episode kind of talking about, in these next few minutes or so, talking about why I'm doing this, why I'm talking about the golden rule, and trying to bring people back to these teachings, to the truth. For me, I've seen it with my own friends, the people that are around me in my life. Now, there's this thing where, the best thing you can do with your boys, with your friends, is to, insult each other, like playfully joke around and insult with each other. And I absolutely understand that. And a lot of the times I find it funny. And a lot of the times it's actually necessary for myself to get humbled a little bit by, some of my friends saying something, a little bit over the top. But if you can understand that, you can take it lightheartedly. I don't have to say anything mean back to them. But what I felt recently is that these, I have some people in my life that they never seem to actually ever say anything good. They always, and what they're saying to me become, more and more extreme and more hateful. And the level of hate has just been increasing. And that's been a way for me to also think, okay, yeah, so it's even happening with people around me. I don't hate the guy for doing it because he's, the guys that are doing it have kind of already always been like this. But I feel like it's just gotten worse. Like I just can't put my finger on what's really happening, the underlying issue of this whole hatred getting worse and getting more intense and more extreme. But I've seen it with the way people, my own friends, kind of insult me. Playful insults become really deep insults into my entire life and character, which is like, okay, it's never really ever been like that. I'm not mad, I'm not pissed, but I'm just observing this and kind of seeing that it's not just them, it's a lot of people online, and it's online brain rot internet culture that has really stirred up the pot a little bit to cause this to happen. So what I say to you, having heard all of this, having heard this little spiel, having heard, what the idea of the golden rule is, the rule taught by Jesus Christ, treating others the way you would like to be treated. For you, the call is to just be normal. The call to action, just be normal, man. Treat people with respect. Understand, that being mean doesn't help anyone. Being rude to people doesn't help anyone. It ruins your reputation. It makes the other person feel like crap. Doesn't help anyone. And the more people that follow the rule, the more people that actually take something in their lives to being better and respecting others more, offline and online, the more people that do that, the better the world will be overall. So I encourage you to do your part. I invite you to do your part. That's all you can do. You can't really change other people. If people truly are psychotic individuals, narcissistic individuals, then they will, put you down. The best thing I could say is, if you can stop talking to those types of people, stop talking to those types of people and focus on what you can do to be a positive role model and a positive influence to the people around you, and truly treat them the way you'd like to be treated, rather than falling into this terrible, inexplicable negativity, parasocial behavior that we've kind of seen a lot of recently online and transferring to in-person interactions. So that is my call to you. That is all each and every one of us can do, whether you're a Christian or not, or a believer in Jesus or not. each and every one of you can do is just be a better person to the people around you, show more respect to the people around you, and especially when you feel the need to say something rude, to control yourself, to hold yourself back, remember the golden rule and remember to say something nice rather than something rude. And if someone truly says something really demeaning and insulting of you, you can try and point it out to them just how bad it is, but a lot of these people can't change. And you have to understand that. And as with a lot of things in life, you kind of just have to focus on what you can do to be a positive influence to people around you, because a lot of people will truly try and tear you down for that. So hopefully I've done that in a good way today for you watching this video, being a positive influence. And, hopefully you watching this video are not one of those narcissistic people that want to just comment hate and spread hate around in their entire life, because I guess it makes them feel a little bit better about their own insecurities. Ideally that's not you. That's you watching this video are trying to be a better person every day. So as a result of that, it's necessary for you to improve the relationships you have and truly treat people with respect. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's just being normal. It's being normal. And that same Pokemon YouTuber that talked about how people were just being weird, he said that it's something that really hit, which is to say that 0.1% of 2 million people is 2,000. And that's not nobody. That's a significant amount of people. And then people even extrapolated, said even 0.01% of 2 million is 20 people, and that's 200, and that's still too much. And 0.0001% is 20 people, and that's still too much, right? Imagine 20 people that are after you, trying to just, destroy your life in whatever way possible. So be a better person. The less people actually are rude and mean in that way, the better the world will be. But all you can do is focus on yourself and maybe even try and help the direct people around you. But that's what I say. Follow the teaching of Jesus Christ and look and study and find the other great teachings of Jesus Christ, which he did taught his disciples. He did teach his disciples. He's taught all of us, and he's left it all for us to read. And that's what the Gospels are about. That's what the Bible's about. So I encourage you, if nothing else, find the other teachings, find other things that can actually, show you how to respect people, how to do better in this world. But most importantly, follow this teaching and know that your life will be better, the lives of people around you will be better, and just the general consensus and positivity and direction the world is moving in will be better the more people actually decide and make the actual decision to every day live out the golden rule, treating people the way you would like to be treated.